Allow me to preface this video with a disclaimer. I did not enjoy the Rampage in Monster Hunter Rise. Let me be clear, the concept of the Rampage and the story implications of it are completely fine, but playing the Rampage quest type, for me, was not fun at all. This, of course, is a personal opinion, but I want to make sure that you, the viewer, understand my position before I continue. Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak is the perfect opportunity to leave the Rampage behind in Kamura Village and not have to deal with it ever again. Let's talk about it. As we all know, the Rampage was one of the key mechanics that were introduced in Monster Hunter Rise. Essentially, it is a Monster Hunter themed tower defense game. On paper, the idea sounds great. In practice, it did not work out very well. The first issue I find with it is the fact that there is not much hunting going on in the Rampage. Instead, it's an onslaught. Also, the nature of the quest type really emphasizes multiplayer. I am not sure if it's possible to solo the endgame Rampage quests, but even if they were, I am sure that they would not be fun to do. Arguably, the worst part of it all is that the Rampage was so important to the story of the game that it became a requirement. Certain augments needed the tickets that the Rampage gives you, and for some extra damage, Apex monsters were initially locked behind this quest type. All in all, it was a part of the game that I had to go through begrudgingly, and that made it terribly unfun. In fact, it is so unfun that there are hunters that join Rampage quests and just stay AFK in the camp, hoping that the host doesn't notice them and they get a free ride to the rewards. This is a great indicator of the issues it presents. Story-wise, the Rampage is an onslaught or a stampede of monsters led by Magna Malo, the flagship monster of Monster Hunter Rise, against the village of Kamura. In the past, about 50 years before the events of the game, there was another Rampage that almost destroyed Kamura Village. Since then, the village set up the installations that we used to repel the onslaught and is much better prepared for the occasion. Afterwards, we are able to hunt down Magna Malo, followed by Ibushi and Narwa, stopping the Rampage and returning peace to the village. This is where I would like to stop for a moment. As far as the story of Monster Hunter Rise goes, the Rampage is over and the village is saved. It is done, and there will be no story complications if it does not come back. Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak presents the perfect opportunity to move on from the Rampage and try something new, something different, or maybe not try anything at all. As of right now, we have official confirmation that Sunbreak will be set in a different land from Kamura, a land of castles and kings and knights, a land of different culture, customs and problems. It would make perfect sense if the Rampage were not to exist in this new land. The extent of Magna Malo's influence may not have reached this land and, as such, the concept of the Rampage could not exist here. I am sure that the new base of operations in this new land will probably have its own problems to solve, probably related to a malevolent vampiric elder dragon that has a bone to pick with hunters. But, story-wise, it does not have to be the Rampage. It could be anything else. For example, Malzeno drains blood from other monsters, turning them into his kind, and as a result, creating a new, stronger type of monsters akin to deviants, tempered monsters, or whatever it may be. Or maybe, this new land does have its own version of the Rampage, but they deal with it in a very different way, in a way that has nothing to do with tower defense. The possibilities are truly endless, and the opportunity is perfect to make such a change. As things stand right now, the development team of Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak has a very important decision to make. They can take advantage of the new setting within the expansion to do away with the Rampage and bring us something new. Or they could double down on the quest type and bring it back with some additional modifications. Whatever they decide will have a great effect on the players. I am sure that there are other hunters like me who do not enjoy the Rampage, and possibly stopped playing the game because of it. Seeing it removed in Sunbreak will create a strong argument to bring back this part of the player base. Nevertheless, it is important to understand the risk of such a change. In the Spanish language, there is a saying that goes, "Es mejor malo conocido que bueno por conocer." This translates to, "A known evil is better than an unknown good," and it means that not every change is necessarily for the better. Maybe Sunbreak introduces a new quest type or a new system that ends up being worse than the Rampage. Sure, this is possible, but I find it to be much more improbable. I am sure that if they decide to stay true to hunting monsters, to the formula that made all hunters love this game, there is very little risk of putting out something worse. At least, that is what I think. Now before I go, I want to bring your attention to one last matter. Maybe you have noticed or maybe you haven't, but please bring your attention to the Rampage quest that has been playing in the background. Only one person joined my SOS, and we did the whole 14-minute Rampage as a two-man team. I have never had an SOS not have a full team of hunters before. Usually it fills up within a minute in the worst of cases. This was a top Rampage Ticket 9 reward quest with only 2 waves of monsters. It was a very efficient quest. I don't want to generalize with just one example, so I will ask you, is this a normal occurrence? In your experience, do Rampage quests not get a full team on SOS? Please let me know in the comments below. And finally, please understand that this is just my opinion. I am very much interested in hearing yours. Whether you agree or disagree, don't hesitate to express your point of view. All opinions are important, as we are all equal hunters in this world. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope I get to see you on the next one.